Have you ever stopped to think about how big you dare to dream? I mean, really, what if the scale of your ambition, the very size of what you ask for from the universe, could literally shape your destiny? Well, we're going to dive into a pretty incredible story that explores exactly that idea. Okay, so picture this. We're in a huge, silent palace, the kind with towering ceilings and golden thrones. A really powerful ruler is sitting there, and he's just summoned one of his subjects. You can just feel the tension in the air, right? That thick, heavy feeling of, well, fear.
So who gets brought in? It's not some fancy nobleman. Nope. It's just a simple farmer. And he's being escorted in by soldiers. You can see he's absolutely terrified. I mean, his eyes are filled with tears. He has no clue what's going on, why he's been dragged away from his fields and brought here.
And then, out of nowhere, something completely shocking happens. The ruler gets up from his throne, walks right over to this poor, trembling farmer, and just slaps him, hard, right across the face, no explanation, nothing. So you're probably thinking, why, right? Why on earth would a powerful ruler do that? Summon a random farmer just to hit him? It makes absolutely no sense. But the answer is what this whole story is about. And to figure it out, we've got to go back, way back. So let's rewind the clock a bunch of years. The scene totally changes. We're no longer in that cold, grand palace. Instead, imagine a dusty wheat field, just shimmering in the heat of a long summer day. And who do we see in this field? Well, it's the same two guys, but their roles are completely flipped. One is the master farmer, and the other, he's his young servant. They've been working their tails off all morning and have just sat down to grab a bite to eat. So they're sitting there, and the master asks his young servant a pretty deep question. He's like, what's your biggest dream? What do you really, truly want more than anything? And the servant's answer, it's a big one. It's not for a day off or a little extra money. He looks his boss right in the eye and says he wants to rule the entire city. The master is just stunned, flabbergasted. He can't believe what he's hearing. He thinks the kid is crazy, that it's just some ridiculous fantasy. And how does he react? Yep, you guessed it. He slaps him, right there in the field. And then the master kind of lays into him, and you really see where his head is at. He scoffs and says something like, "Are you kidding me? For years, all I've been praying for is one single horse to help me with the plowing, and I can't even get that. And you have the nerve to ask for the whole city?" And that was it. That was the moment everything changed. That slap, it wasn't just a slap. It was total disbelief, total ridicule. And the young servant, completely crushed by his master's small-mindedness, just left. He walked away that day and never looked back.
Okay, let's jump forward again. We're back in the palace. The farmer is standing there. His cheek is still burning, and he's just completely lost. And then the ruler does another thing that makes no sense. He tells his guards to bring the farmer a gift, a really generous one.
I mean, can you imagine how confused this guy is? First, he gets dragged to the palace, then he gets slapped, and now he's being given a beautiful young horse. It's just, what? So he finally works up the courage to ask the ruler, "Look, I don't get it. Can you please explain what is happening?" And this is where it all comes together. The ruler starts to explain, and he takes the farmer right back to that hot day in the wheat field. He reminds him about the two wishes they talked about. Remember? One tiny, practical wish for a horse, and one huge, insane-sounding wish to rule a city. First, he talks about the slap. He looks the farmer dead in the eye and says, "That slap, that was for the one you gave me. It was payback for you slapping me down when I dared to dream big." Then, he moves on to the gift. He points to the beautiful horse and says, "And this horse? This is what you asked for. For years, this was the biggest thing you could imagine wanting. It's the perfect symbol for your own dream." And then, the big reveal, the moment that just blows the farmer's mind. The ruler says, "I am that young servant you had all those years ago, the one you laughed at. Well, my wish came true." Wow. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's all about the incredible power of what we think about, what we truly deeply want. It's a perfect example of that idea that your focus creates your reality. The law of attraction, the power of intention, whatever you want to call it. I mean, think about it. The story just lays it out so clearly. The servant, who was obsessed with the idea of ruling, actually became a ruler. And the farmer, who could only dream as big as a horse, well, he got a horse. Each one of them got exactly what their mind was set on. So, the final lesson here is really a warning for all of us, isn't it? It's saying, hey, pay attention to what you're asking for. Be really conscious of how big or how small your dreams are. Because this story is telling us that those dreams have a funny, powerful way of actually coming true. And that just leaves one big question hanging in the air. And it's not for the farmer, and it's not for the ruler, it's for you. If it's true, if you really do become what you think about, then what is it that you truly